I think for me, it's reactions to training during pregnancy are really, really broad reactions. I've had anything from going out running once you're showing has been the most interesting thing. Because some people respond to it like massive pat on the back and stop you and are like, wow, that's amazing. Congratulations on running. Congratulations on your pregnancy. This is amazing. I wish I could have run when I was pregnant. Or women coming up to you and saying, oh, that's amazing to see you running. I ran right up until X weeks. And that's that. I mean, in the future, I would like to think that I would be that person now, because it made me feel so much better. Because in other instances, I've been tutted at and I've been told that when I'm running along, a friend has said to a friend, oh, she's pregnant. And the other one says, oh, that's really sad that she's running. And like, just, that probably reflects how slow I'm going, because I can hear their whole conversation. But it's really interesting, the reaction that different people have. And I've just gone with, I'm really surprised how I've just felt like I know what's right for me. Like, I don't know if Emma's the same, but it's like, for me, intensity has been a bit of a problem. I can't work at that higher intensity, particularly like threshold type stuff. I can just about do something like microbursts on the bike, but anything for more than a minute at any intensity, I really struggle with. And that's been from really early on. But yeah, the reactions to running are really quite odd and interesting. And some of them, sometimes it makes you feel like a bad mother before you've even had the child, which is, I think, quite sad, because, there's no danger in me running with a baby. I stopped running at 36 weeks and because it didn't feel right. But before then, it was absolutely fine. And I've been amazed at how the body sort of tells you what is and what isn't right.
I think it's quite an old-fashioned way of looking at, pregnancy. Put your feet up, don't do anything, scrub the floor on your hands and your knees position, which is a great place to put the baby. Those old-fashioned things, and people aren't keeping up to date with the kind of current guidelines, and that it's really a good thing to be exercising. And they say that, but if you stop them and said, oh, why do you think it's a sad thing, I bet you they wouldn't even be able to have an answer. It's almost just like a kind of a thing that people say. And I remember through my pregnancies, people asking certain things at a certain time, and it was almost like, maybe you guys have had that. So at 13 weeks, oh, you're going to find out what it is. And then at 20 weeks, oh, do you know if it's a boy and a girl? It's like these standard things that people just ask. And oh, maybe you guys have different questions because of your triathlon, but like, oh, when are you going to stop running? And how long are you going to start running for? It's like just a standardized question that people ask without even thinking about what the answer might be or anything. It's just a kind of like a thing that they're asking, as if they think that's a thing that I need to ask at this stage.
Yeah, no, you're right. It does seem like you get certain questions at certain times of the pregnancy.
And the other one will be like, once you've had the baby, and when are you going to have another one? And when you that'll come within about 3 to 6 months.
I think Susie, your point about your body and you just knowing what is right and what isn't is such a key one, because I think definitely I've been through the full wave of emotions with sort of not knowing really what I can do in training, what I should be doing. I found that it's the well-meaning, unsolicited advice that's got me the most. I've luckily not really experienced anyone commenting on me, probably because I'm quite rural when I go out running, so I didn't see anyone. But it's just all friends, I think, with the best will in the world, sort of saying stuff like, oh, I couldn't cycle after this many weeks because I had this sort of pain, or I stopped running at this weeks because I couldn't do this. And in my head, it sounds like a list of sort of negatives and sort of goalposts of when you're going to have to stop your activity, which I found quite hard, because I've almost sort of every week, well, not every week, not fearful but as in waiting to think, oh no, I can't run anymore, or this is going to happen to me, I'm suddenly going to get a massive dose of relaxing, and that's going to be the end of this. And it's actually that, and I wish women could just be a bit more empowering, positive with each other, and say, actually, I did manage to do this all the way through. Not to prove a point, but just because it is really cool what you can continue to do. And I guess a good example for mine was, because the pools have been closed, Phil and I have been, and a group of us before this lockdown, were swimming in a open water lake, up until November. And the amount of comments I was getting about, you really shouldn't be doing this, it can't be good for the baby, But I knew that I wasn't getting too cold where it was becoming a problem. My limits so well. I all my checkups were going absolutely fine, and it was just kind of that sort of thing. I felt like almost I had to stop doing it because it was almost becoming a problem for everyone else. And I'm sure that's what some women do feel, but I think that what you're doing, I feel as an expectant mother, you just know what you can and can't do.
I think on that, Emma, as well, is absolutely spot on. And I think there's obviously the guidelines. So, if you're exercising and there's bleeding, or there's a pain that's a new continued pain that doesn't subside, there is, things that just aren't normal to you, then they're the kind of times when you need to kind of red flag it, check up with your midwife, your GP, and go and get a check. If there isn't much fetal movement after, after 5-10 days, and you normally get regular kicks, then that's the guideline to kind of go and get checked and get more investigation. But otherwise, I think if you're feeling well and it's completely mother intuition and female intuition that you feel fine, you feel safe, you feel happy doing what you're doing, then you just carry on.
I think there's a really important point from that, though, is that you're very self-aware of how you're feeling and how you're moving. And I guess one really important point to take is endurance athletes are really good at being good at enduring that, sort of in the name of what they do. And pregnancy isn't a situation where you want to be trying to push the boundary and see what you can do. You have to listen and be quite honest with yourself about how you're feeling, and not try and push something for the sake of a training plan or whatever.
Yeah, that's